Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 264. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host, Mike. What's up, Mike?
Hey, I'm here. I'm ready to talk about Doctor Strange in a little bit, and all that good stuff. Usually we got some time to shoot the shit, but there's probably quite a bit we want to talk about today. So, I think we
big
might.
Movie came out, big finale happened. Yeah,
big finale, big movies, some trailers. We have on the show today Magic Gal Media, putting out a book called Black Rhapsody on Indiegogo right now, almost funded. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Look forward to that interview. But with that, let's just run through the TV news. I do have some flashbacks to get through, everybody. Pat's flashbacks. So thanks for that, Pat. Let's just quick review season 8, episode 13. Moment of silence for the cancellation of Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman. On bright side, Flash has been renewed for 9th season. Boo. Today's episode, the team came up with a plan to turn Frost into anti-Deathstorm. Okay. While Caitlin is slowly turning into female Deathstorm. Classic comic book science. Deathstorm attacks Star Labs, sends some grief ghosts to each member of the team to feed on the grief and transform Caitlin. The whole episode's about Frost thinking about she's not a real person, just a clone of Caitlin. Then she realizes she's a real unique human. She's able to transform into the anti-Deathstorm and then defeats Deathstorm. Caitlin saved. The fight with Deathstorm causes Frost to pass out. Back at Star Labs, Caitlin tries to save Frost, but then she dies. So you brought the coolest part about Caitlin Snow to the show, which was Killer Frost, made her own character, and then you killed her off.
My head hurts.
Yeah, so there's a lot of comic book science there. We're just catching you up in the Flash because I know most people aren't watching it anymore, and just Pat's taking one for the team, but it's a weekly reminder of why we don't watch that show. First look at the Paper Girls Amazon series that came out of nowhere. Nobody knows what Paper Girls is. Go read it. It's Brian K. Vaughan, retro wave. He was doing the retro wave 80s story before it was cool. It's true. I think it came out in 2017. Which feels like forever ago now. But yeah. The reveal on Twitter was by Amazon, but it's all the characters and then the title. And we get a quick quote from each of the characters. I think the casting looks great. Looks like the comic book. So I guess we'll wait to see the rest.
I never read it, so I have really nothing to add here. I saw a bunch of faces, and I saw a quote, and I was like, okay.
It's great. It's it's time travel. It's these girls they're paper girls, obviously. In the 80s, something happens where they create this whole time travel paradox. And in the future, it's almost like news and spreading the word of just handing out newspapers is illegal. That's, that whole information thing is dystopian future style story, but and also it deals with these 13 14-year-old girls that are in charge of saving the world and don't know what the hell they're doing with time travel. It's also pretty serious too. You find out one of the characters has cancer and stuff like this, so Brian K. Vaughan stuff tugging at your heartstrings. So really good stuff. Brian K. Vaughan, he's yet to write a bad book. And now I've cursed him. So he probably will write a bad book.
And there goes Saga.
There it goes. Sorry about that. Obi-Wan trailer. Pretty much the same as the first trailer, just we get a shot of Darth Vader's suit at the end of it. Yeah,
a few little moments Owen and Obi-Wan.
That was cool.
Owen getting that slamming.
Yeah, you piece of shit.
When he gets old enough, we need to train him. Oh, he trained his father?
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom. He's like, oh, guess I'll just leave the planet then. And he does. How do you go back to the planet after that? There's a reason we don't see him for 30 years. It's because he goes into a cave after that. How do you see it? How do you talk to people in public after that?
I am super excited for this, though.
And I will say, I wanted to say Alec Guinness. The voice sounds a lot more like Alec Guinness, like Ewan McGregor is kind of playing on the voice a little bit now, more than before, and I like it. Or I don't know if Disney's doing something with the voice and the digitizing things, whatever the term is, but
casting their magic on the sweet, sultry voice of Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, like Mickey Mouse they have him chained up in the basement. He just like flicks his wand and it's like, okay, now it sounds a lot more similar. They just give him like film reels to some messed up shit going on at Disney. I'm so excited for this. Mostly because I'm still behind on Moon Knight, and I finished Ozarks, and I went and saw Doctor Strange, and I tried to watch Moon Knight, and I just can't get into it. I have like 2.5 episodes left. I just got to finish it. Now, on the other hand, you watch the finale, so might have you just catch me up here, and then I'll rewatch it. So, spoilers for the finale. What'd you think?
I really liked it. It's the most Mike episode yet.
Oh my god! So I'll just watch that one and call it a day.
It's so like everything about it. I'm just like, this is everything Mike wants. Plus, they put kaijus in it.
Oh come on, really? All right, I might just watch the last episode then. Holy crap!
So it wraps everything up. Mark's wife there gets powers as well. She becomes the Scarlet Scarab, I think it was. And they come back from the dead, and then they end up fighting with Ethan Hawke. And then the god that Ethan Hawke was trying to let free was like a alligator thing.
Okay.
And so she gets loose, and then they get Khonshu out, and they turn these giant kaiju things to start fighting over pyramids.
Okay.
All the while Moon Knight and Scarlet Scarab are just like fighting random things in the streets. So it was a lot more punchy superhero than any other episodes. But that was a good ending. And then everybody stick around for the credits, because there's an after credit sequence. So to explain it, like, Mark makes a deal with Khonshu that after this battle, like, he's done being Moon Knight, and Moon Knight grants him that wish, but then unlocks the third personality inside of him, and he becomes Jake Lockley. And it ends with them picking up the bad guy. I already forgot his name. I just said it 5 seconds ago.
Ethan Hawke.
They pick him up from a hospital. And Khonshu's like they're in the stretch limo, and Khonshu's sitting there, and he gives like a little speech and goes, "My friend Mark Spector didn't know he was as troubled or is more troubled than he thought he was." And that's when you see Jake Lockley come out, and he pulls out a gun, shoots him 3 times, and then fucking drives away.
Oh, okay.
So sets up for a second season if they want to do it. I know both Oscar Isaac and the director have been kind of wishy-washy about that. But I really liked it as a whole. I'm glad it exists.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, we're going to get into movie talk, because we saw Doctor Strange, but Chris saw the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie. So I really want to see this. What did you think?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you played the old Sonic games, like they set the movie up so that each act is in a different zone. So like in the game,
green zone. Yeah.
So like in the first movie, like the town they live in is Green Hill. Green Hill zone.
Yep.
And then they go to a like a mountain where there's a bunch of snow, so they could do the whole snowboarding sequence.
Oh, okay.
For Sonic riders. Yeah. And then there's a sequence inside like an Aztec temple, which was my favorite, because I remember that part of the game in like the original games, and I'd always get like stuck. And there's even a part where like Sonic's trying to get Knuckles from underneath this rubble underwater, and he like sees a giant bubble pop up, and he like sucks it in to get some air, like you did in the game.
Those are the worst. Those are the worst levels for sure.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like really great moments throughout it. It's just a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait to watch it. I'll probably wait for it.
This also has an after credit sequence, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know if everybody knows, but there's going to be a Sonic cinematic universe.
Oh boy! Oh great!
I can't even say that with a straight face.
I know, especially when they got rid of Jim Carrey. He's not coming back. So, Doctor Strange 2: The Multiverse of Madness. Okay, everybody. Spoilers for this movie, so I maybe skip ahead, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes, if you want to ensure that you don't want it spoiled. Okay. Straight out of the bat, it's probably like, it could be my favorite Marvel cinematic movie. Is it the best? Probably not, because it's my favorite. So everybody has different tastes. So I will say this: it is a Sam Raimi movie to its core. If you don't like Evil Dead, you're probably not gonna like this movie. Because even like the original Spider-Man, I wouldn't even say if you liked Evil Dead, you wouldn't like that, because those are not, like, they even restricted him. It's interesting because like Sam Raimi, was at the beginning of the superhero movement, and now he's at like the golden age of it, where like at first they're like, okay, you can do a Spider-Man movie, but you need to like dial back all the Evil Dead shit. You can still do your campy, your campy like Spider-Man stuff, and then maybe make Green Goblin kind of like a horror movie when you see him and stuff. But that's it. We still need a good Spider-Man movie. This movie, they're like, do whatever the hell you want.
Well, let me ask you. This has to be the biggest budget horror movie ever.
Oh my god!
Because it is a horror movie.
It is a horror
through
movie.
And through.
And you could tell, like, in the theater, kids were like, there was a lot of kids in the theater. They like, you could tell they didn't know how to react.
There's a few scenes in here where I was just like, holy shit! Like,
yeah, some brutal death scenes. Some deep cuts characters that were awesome. I unfortunately was in a theater with a bunch of like lame pieces of shit. Several people were being loud and talking in the theater. I will say this. Okay, so Black Bolt is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and they gave him the coolest death scene in the movie, where he goes to speak, because if everybody knows, Black Bolt has like this ultrasonic speech that disintegrates everything. There's an awesome sequence where we see them blasting away Doctor Strange, which was fucking sick. And then he goes to speak, and Scarlet Witch was like, he doesn't have a mouth, and then he speaks, and then it like blows the side of his brain out, which was disgusting. Crazy. Probably one of the best scenes I've had in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. And this lady decides to go, that was gross, in the middle of the whole silent scene. Like, fucking ruined the moment for us in the theater. I'm going to rewatch this movie a few times, not in a theater, because I just had such a bad experience. But overall, loved it. We'll start from the beginning. The trailers did not show Wanda as the villain.
Yeah, so I wanted to say real quick, we talked about spoilers last week and how like everybody was mad that they spoiled too much.
Yeah.
They did not spoil too much.
They didn't spoil anything.
Just the fact that Wanda's the villain was huge. I did not see that coming one bit.
The scene
I figured
in the
it was going to be an
orchard?
adventure.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like tag team, ragtag, multiverse adventure. Yeah. It was not that. The motivation for Wanda, wanting her kids that weren't actually there, that was pretty cool. America Chavez, I mean, they shoehorned her in for the multiverse travel stuff. I will say this, I love Marvel, love DC. If DC came out of the gates with a movie like this and just threw a character in and said, hey, this character's in here now, we can travel the multiverse, they would have got way more shit than Marvel. Marvel's built up such a nice base for themselves that they can get away with a lot of these like hand-waving things where people don't really question it too much anymore.
It's also, so Chavez, like, much like in the comics, is just like a one-note character whose only purpose is to travel the multiverse.
Right.
And like, you didn't need that. But
yeah.
And this isn't a critique on this very reason, but I think that they get away with a little bit more because of her background and because she's the first Latino character, all that stuff. Like, I think people are willing to forgive a little bit more for that reason, and then if you're on the other side, you're probably hating it even more for that reason. But as a character, just on her own, I found her just as boring as I do in the comics.
Yeah, and the whole like resolve at the end was just, Doctor Strange. She's like, I can't use my powers, and he's like, no, you can. Roll credits. She can use her powers. Like that was just kind of like, okay, we brought this character in. How do we get her to use her powers now? And the writers were just like, I don't know, wrap it up. I don't know, just say she can.
Zombie Strange says some things, and then she's able to do it. All right, we're good.
But who cares? We have Zombie Strange. So the Sam Raimi stuff was amazing. I mean, the Rotten Tomato score is like 74, so I think this movie was well received. I'd be a little iffy about bringing your kids to it. The Wanda villain was great. Wong, they made you think they kill Wong off. Don't do that to me. I love that character. The whole battle scene with like her. Wanda's super overpowered. So let's, the elephant in the room, the Illuminati. Okay, there's a sequence. So they call this the Multiverse of Madness. We only really visit a couple of the universes.
Although, one thing, the first time they jump multiverses, I like the homage to Into the Spider-Verse.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Because that whole scene was stripped right out of that movie.
Yeah. Yep. It was awesome. The color, like turning into the colors and stuff like that.
Yeah, but then when they get to the Illuminati, that's when. Yeah, that's the only madness in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's the only madness in the movie. But it looks like towards the end, the after credit scene, Charlize Theron pops out of a portal, grabs him, and they're going to go travel the multiverse. I guess that seems more like a travel through the multiverse. Now that we like explain the multiverse and what the hell's going on, now we can just go everywhere. When they land in the first universe, we see none other than the Pizza Papa himself, Bruce Campbell. What does he say? What does he say? Pizza Papa needs to get paid or something. Like best line in a movie. Amazing. And not only that, Doctor Strange curses him with the same shit that happens to him in Evil Dead, where he starts beating the shit out. Like, everybody knows his hand gets cursed in Evil Dead. He has to cut it off because it's like punching him. And that's pretty much the spell that Doctor Strange casts on him. He starts punching himself in the face. Amazing moment.
Yeah, and to top it off, so I went with my father, and of course I make him sit through the credits, which he hates.
Yeah.
And when you get to the end credits, and it's just him, like, and he finally stops, and he's like, "Oh, thank God, it's over."
Yeah.
I remember my dad just looking at me. I was like, "I waited all that time for that shit."
It's so funny because I heard someone at work was like, "Make sure you stay for that last one. It's really worth it." Like joking, but like to me, to a Bruce Campbell Evil Dead fan, and I know you really enjoyed it too, it was worth it to stay to the end for me. But I know a lot of people are disappointed.
Yeah. Well, dude, Army of Darkness is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like,
yeah, oh yeah,
So and even though my dad said that to me, he also was just like, "That's Bruce Campbell." I was like, "Yeah, this is a Sam Raimi movie." He's like, "This is a Sam Raimi movie."
Yeah. So. Okay, now we're going to the meat and potatoes in the middle of the movie. I guess we'll start at we get the Illuminati, and
let's talk about the Illuminati because that's the big reveal.
We have Captain. Is she Captain Britain? Because she is British.
Just Captain Carter is what they call
Captain
her.
Carter. Okay, so with Captain Carter, we have Black Bolt. I couldn't tell who was playing Black Bolt, by the way. I don't know if it was.
So I don't remember the gentleman's name, but it's the same guy that played him in the really bad Inhumans TV series.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, I forgot.
He got his moment to kind of redeem himself.
I forgot about that show.
Not that he wasn't really the problem with that show, though. To be honest,
right.
Yeah.
And we got Captain Marvel's friend is actually Captain Marvel. I don't remember that character.
Yeah. Which was the one that everybody thought was Tom Cruise. If you remember.
Yeah. Yes.
Which was funnier looking back now.
Yeah, which was even funnier. I I'm all for a black Captain Marvel. That was awesome. She looked badass.
She was fine.
Obviously 90s X-Men, Xavier,
which is awesome.
And they rolled out the 90s X-Men theme when he rolls up. Yeah. And then the John Krasinski Mr. Fantastic. I love
biggest
Fantastic
kept
Four.
Secret of the whole movie.
And that was a huge fan casting for years. This has been talked about for like almost 5 years, John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that casting, I think the whole Illuminati, and there's the guy from Doctor Strange's friend, I don't remember his name, but the Illuminati is great. John Krasinski was awesome. I hope to God they keep Black Bolt and John Krasinski in like in the universe going forward. I mean, it is a multiverse, right? So
I would be shocked if they do a Black Bolt anytime soon. Yeah, because even like Miss Marvel, they're getting rid of the Inhumans connection.
Right.
So I would be shocked by that if they don't keep John on as Mr. Fantastic in the announced Fantastic Four movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that movie's just doomed from day one.
Yeah,
personally.
And before we even get to the Illuminati reveal, I got way more excited when they mentioned we're in the Baxter Building, and I was like, oh. And Katie's like, what? I'm like, the Baxter Building. I'm like, that's where the Fantastic Four works. She's like, so? I'm like, if they don't show me Fantastic Four, I'm like, how could they be in the same building and we don't see them? And then we get Mr. Fantastic. So good on Sam Raimi for doing that, for like teasing me at first. And then okay, so they do the Invincible thing, right? Where Wanda shows up and we find out how powerful she is. She fucking kills them all. Like straight up murders them. This is why I say don't bring your kids, because I mean, like, Peggy Carter gets like cut in half by her shield. Mr. Fantastic gets shredded to spaghetti.
Which, while the least like disturbing of any of them as an adult, probably the most gruesome in my eyes.
Oh yeah,
like to just be shredded to like yeah.
Especially with the line that Wanda delivers. Elizabeth Olsen, amazing job as villain, I think.
Yeah.
I think she really found her grounding with the character. The line she delivers before she kills Mr. Fantastic is like, do your children have a mother? He goes, yeah. It's like, okay, then they'll have someone to raise them after I kill you, and then fucking shreds him. Yeah. What? And then the Black Bolt blasting his head off, and then there's this huge fight with Captain Carter and Captain Marvel, the two captains, and fighting it. The whole scene was fantastic. And then she beats Xavier at the Head Games. That was pretty wild. Yeah. She has to be the most powerful villain. Like, I don't know.
So, yeah. Well, first, I want to say Peggy got to do the line, the I can do this all day line.
Yeah, I could do this all day. That was great.
Yeah, the Head Games with Xavier, and then when they cut away from it, and it just he snaps his own neck.
Yeah.
I cringed.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, God.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's a brutal villain. That's...
And that was awesome. But the whole movie, so like the reason I say this is Evil Dead, because the whole movie revolves around an evil book.
Yeah.
That can bring back the dead. Huh. Wow. I've heard this once before, Sam Raimi. And we're not even like, so that's like a big part of the movie. We find out that like the Doctor Strange is across the multiverse. They might have saved the universe, but the things they had to do to save the universe, they had to kill him because he takes this evil power for himself. And they, the Illuminati makes a decision. Every universe is better without Doctor Strange. We pretty much need to kill them all. And then Xavier takes a chance with this one, which Xavier has always been like the smartest. It like makes sense, and he can see the good in people in their minds, obviously. And then the movie from there, like thought it couldn't go any crazier. It goes straight off the rails with this whole like Book of the Dead, Book of the Light thing. Life, and Doctor Strange, so like they do this thing called dream walking, and at the beginning of the movie, there's a dead Doctor Strange with America Chavez that comes over into our Earth, like Earth Prime or 616. Is that what they call it?
I wanted to say that I don't like that they referred to the MCU as 616.
Yeah, because that's
the comics universe. I mean, I get it's just a
right.
Hey, comics fans, look what we did. Yep. But I'm like, no, you're not the 616.
So he's like, they're like, he's stuck in another universe. He needs to help America Chavez in his own universe, and so he dreamwalks because there's a dead Doctor Strange in that universe. Dreamwalking can go into the other version of yourself, and so it's a zombie. Back up before that really quick. Before we talk about zombie Doctor Strange, let's talk about the coolest fucking scene in any Marvel movie, the piano fight scene. That was ridiculous. That was like the most Sam Raimi thing in the movie, I think, because like Doctor Strange goes to another evil universe where there's an evil Doctor Strange that has the Book of the Dead. He realizes he needs to kill him because this Doctor Strange is evil. He has that evil third eye thing. I don't know if that's a comic thing. So he blasts them away and gets thrown into the piano, and the piano immediately makes that horror note, like the which was funny. And then they start fighting where he takes the notes off the sheet music and starts blasting them, and then they start fighting each other with like sheet music and pulling the sheet music off and like hitting each other with the notes. And if you think about it, like the piano and stuff, these are percussion notes, so they should have like an impact, right? So that another thing too is like when he's hitting him with the notes, it's like blasting him back. And I'm like, this fight scene was a lot smarter and well done than I thought it would have. I thought it was going to be wonky, but it is kind of wonky and funny, but it also has some like music like mixed with harmonics and sound. I'm like, this is kind of or magic mixed with music and harmonics. It was awesome. I don't know how you felt about it, but
just the choreography alone, not even just like the fight scene choreography. Yeah. I'm talking about like everything from the music to the CG to everything coming together. Like, I thought that scene was really great. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen anything like that in a movie. I can honestly say that. And then we get to the zombie Strange, which was, he reminded me of the zombie, was his name Eddie from Hocus Pocus? Is that his name? He's got like the missing jaw.
I probably haven't seen Hocus Pocus since I was a little kid.
I watch it every year for Halloween. Come on, what are you doing?
It kind of reminded me of not Evil Dead, but was Army of Darkness, where like Bruce goes like a little zombie-ish for a minute.
Yeah. Yep. So that in itself, like, and then like fighting with the souls of the dead, where they had like the cheesy voices, like "Come on, Doctor Strange" and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, this has gone full Sam Raimi here, which was kind of cool. He like commands the dead to like use as his powers, so he instead of like conjuring magic because it's a corpse, he's like conjuring dead souls. That was pretty wild. And then they defeat Wanda. She gets crushed by the big tower that she's in. I don't think she's dead. She can't be, right?
Do you notice the flash of the light when the tower came down?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. She's not dead.
She's not dead. And yeah, I mean, overall, I had a lot of fun. If you would have told me this was going to be more Evil Dead than Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I would have said you're fucking insane. I saw something on the internet that was like, because nothing good ever comes out of my own thoughts. I saw something that was like, the movie we thought was going to change the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it was it was the Eternals. And the movie that did actually change the recipe for Marvel movies was the Multiverse of Madness. And I will say, like, other than Winter Soldier, this movie felt like a whole nother, like you said, it was a horror movie. Yeah, I loved it, and I think we're getting a third one, hopefully directed by Sam Raimi.
I kind of hope he comes back, even though I'm not as strong as you are on loving it.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not as big of a horror fan, I did really like it, and I love the uniqueness of it.
Mm-hmm.
My only critique is just kind of Chavez being a blah character.
Yeah.
But
notice how I didn't bring her up. Because
Yeah.
she kind of gets dragged through the whole movie. Like, she's being dragged by Scarlet Witch. She's being dragged by Doctor Strange.
She literally, like, is there just so she can she can be the person that Scarlet Witch goes after, freak out, and then jump to another multiverse. Like, that's her entire plot.
Yep.
The only other thing I'll mention is when they went to the Darkhold Tower or whatever it's called, I'm pretty sure those 4 monsters were supposed to be Man-Things.
Oh.
I kept looking at them, and I'm like, I don't know, but they have the 3 tentacles coming down, red eyes, big brooding giants. I mean,
that would be such a
more
Sam
of a Swamp
Raimi
Thing like character, but still, I think they kind of use that to, because Man-Things are also magical in nature too. So,
and I'm sure Sam Raimi is a big fan of that.
Comics. Positive.
So,
because I remember when the only Man-Thing I've ever read was when R.L. Stine wanted to write it because it was like his favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really great movie.
Do we know who Charlize Theron is as a character?
I believe it's supposed to be Clara, which is another magic user. I believe in the comics, Doctor Strange marries her at some point.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah,
okay.
I'll tell you what, though,
he has a third eye, so that's going to come into play in the next movie.
Yeah. What trailers did you get for this?
A bunch of crap. And then it was a bunch of crap, and then it was Top Gun 2. Right? Is that what it's called?
Did not get
And then I got Love and Thunder, which was awesome, and that stupid lady in my theater ruined it because at the end she goes, "That didn't look like Jane Foster." I'm like, "Oh my god, can you shut up?" Like,
are you in Brooklyn right now? Like,
they had strong Brooklyn accents, Chris. That's the other thing I forgot to tell you. That was really annoying.
Have you ever seen the Nanny?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So when I was in New York, whatever, a long time ago,
Dresser.
There's women on a ferry that sounded like that.
Yeah.
And no, I'm sorry if I offend any people out there, but I'm not that sorry.
No, the Staten Island.
That is the worst accent in human history.
Yeah, Staten Island is something else.
I wanted to shoot somebody. So when you're saying that, that's all I'm thinking of is something like,
so like just to make it even worse. Yeah, it was the Nanny. And then we got the Avatar trailer, which I was like, oh shit! Like Katie and I were like, we're gonna get the Avatar trailer, and it was like, this does not excite me at all.
So I got the Avatar trailer. It felt to me like James Cameron, like Disney just gave James Cameron a shitload of money and just said, like, just go do something, figure it out. And he came back with this, and I'm like, I think this is going to be one of the first things in a long time that Disney's bet on that they're going to lose on. Because if you remember, they greenlit like 4 movies and he's shooting all of them at the same time,
and it looks awful.
Yeah,
not awful, but I'm just uninterested. Everybody's still blue. There's got to be other characters.
The thing that I don't understand how nobody's remembered is the original Avatar movie is not bad. It's good. It's not great. It's just what it is. The reason it was a success is because we just got 3D and we just got IMAX.
That was the big deal.
Everybody was like, you got to go to IMAX to see this movie.
Right.
And then 2 days later, IMAX died because 3D sucks.
Yep.
And that was it. Like, nobody... I'd be shocked to find somebody that owns like the DVD of fucking Avatar.
People were all about it before, but this was like before we had 4K TVs. I remember watching it on TV after it came out of the theaters, and like I was not impressed because we didn't have, back in the day, we didn't have HD and stuff. So like seeing it from the theater to the TV, I was like, what was the big deal? And TVs weren't, everybody didn't have a 50-inch plus TV like they do now. So I forgot. I don't know if I watched it in college or what, but I'm just not excited for it. Yeah,
I hope I'm wrong because I want good stuff, but I just don't see this being a franchise.
Yeah,
I think they're going all in with these comics and the video games and all these movies, and I think they're going to lose a shitload of money.
Yeah.
I got Thor: Love and Thunder. Cannot wait for that fucking movie. I forget what the movie's called, but it was a movie about how they made The Godfather, which I'm like, why do I give
it's a show. It's an HBO show, yeah.
Okay, either way. And then there was another one that I actually thought looked good. Oh, so this is the first time I actually sat down and watched a trailer for this movie. And I might actually go see it now.
Okay.
The Buzz Lightyear movie?
Yeah, see, okay, so you want to see it?
I think I will have fun with it.
I think so. Okay, it could be a fun movie, but my problem is like, why do you need to like make my Toy Story universe ultra serious and like a sci-fi drama? You know, I probably will end up watching it. I don't know if I'm going to go to theaters to watch it, but I think it looks fun. They did kind of get me when they started using David Bowie in the trailer. So
yeah, I don't know if I'm going to rush out to see it right away, but it got me a little hyped to see it. My only problem with it is why did you hire Chris Evans to do a bad Tim Allen impression? Why didn't you just get Tim Allen to come back?
Yeah, right.
Like, also, I love you, Chris Evans, but come on.
Also, this new trailer, they blew the whole plot line of like, oh, he went to space and everybody he knew is like dead now because he's been there for like 80 years.
Yeah.
And so they didn't show that in the first trailer, and I'm like, now that they did that, I was like, man, why would you not just hold that for the movie?
Oh, dude, the new Minions movie, they showed that trailer, and I sat there, I was like, I just saw the whole movie. You showed me the beginning, the middle, and the end of this movie.
Right, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I hate those trailers. All right. Anyways, Doctor Strange 2, very good. Check it out. And now we're going to jump over to this interview with Magic Gal Media. We'll see everybody on the other side.
And we're back.
Nice. And that's your Thanos copter behind you?
So I got a second Thanos copter.
Is that a mini one?
So they did one for Comic-Con. That was a Hot Wheels.
Oh, my God.
Just recently they did one for Loki.
Oh.
So now I have one I can take out of the thing and actually play with.
It actually spins. That's so awesome. So check out Black Rhapsody on Indiegogo, still going on right now. Check out Magic Gal Media, follow everything they're doing. And so let's get into a little bit of comic book news. I got quite a few comics to talk about that I read this week. And also, if you got the books, I might chat about Free Comic Book Day books a little bit. Because it was Free Comic Book Day this past weekend.
Yes.
A little disappointed by the books, but anyways. DC has announced that Azrael is getting a new limited series this summer from writer Dan Waters and artist Nicola Sismasija. Okay. Sismasija. This series will follow the 3-part series found in Batman Urban Legends.
His last name's probably all kinds of screwed up because I'm a stupid American and I don't know how to put the little dots over everything.
Oh,
his name is just littered with them. So
okay. Either way,
so I apologize.
I haven't been reading Batman Urban Legends. I've been trying to pick it up more because some of the stories are good. I think Azrael is a cool enough character to where I might check this out. It's a limited series. Dan Waters is good. I'd like to see where Azrael is in this iteration of Batman. So, I mean, we saw him in The White Knight, and it was amazing. But
I had zero interest in this. Azrael's kind of one of those characters where I'm like, okay, he had one thing, and we did that.
Yeah, like we did Nightfall. We don't need to really bring him back.
And I loved him in White Knight. Like, the way they implemented him in that was cool.
That is how you do it. You don't need to bring him back.
Yeah, it was just retelling his one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac is teaming up with Legendary Comics for a new original graphic novel. Head Wounds Sparrow is developed by Oscar Isaac, written by Brian Buccellato, with art by Christian Ward. This graphic novel is about a crooked Louisiana detective with a higher purpose. That's cool. Oscar Isaac funding comics, getting into comics. I would be very surprised if the lead character in the comic doesn't look like Oscar Isaac.
Oh, it does.
Okay.
Dude, the cover is
just him.
Is Oscar's face.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're gonna make a movie or a series, and he's gonna be the lead.
Yeah, it's think of it like Berserker. Like this is definitely a movie treatment that they were like, hey, let's make a comic out of it. So
very sad news. So we this was a few months ago. We talked about George Perez had terminal cancer. He wasn't doing too great. Was still trying to connect with fans, but he finally passed away at age 67. Surprisingly, I thought he would have at least held on maybe a little longer. You never know those things though when they give you those, those like time sentences of like, okay, 6 months to a year. If you don't know who George Perez is, probably you'll find him in the best art of any series in either Marvel or DC. This was the guy who wrote the first drew the first crossover between Marvel and DC because he was the only one to draw both characters, a lot of characters at the time. Like he's drawn almost every DC character in the Justice League.
Not the first, the last.
The last. Okay.
Yeah.
But he Avengers versus Justice League, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was him. And I have a book too, and I'm really glad I have it now. I actually have a like best of George Perez Justice League hardcover, which has a bunch of Justice League stories. So I was like flipping through the art, and I'm like, oh man, this is so good. After I heard that news, really sad. I mean, this guy was such a good dude to the fans, an amazing artist. I love seeing his art and his characters from his Justice League runs. Like even his, not even like, I'm not even talking about the Trinity. I'm talking about when he does like Firestorm or like the JSA characters, stuff like that. Because he's drawn so many other characters, but
everything DC and Marvel does to this day is aping on what George Perez and crew did back in the day. Infinity Gauntlet, George Perez. Crisis on Infinite Earths, George Perez.
Amazing.
And he'll be best known for like Teen Titans, New Teen Titans, legendary run that he did with I believe with Wolfman.
Yep, Marv Wolfman.
But he's had amazing runs on everyone. Wonder Woman, the Avengers, like just goes on and on.
The Superman holding dead Supergirl, like the most iconic poster out of Crisis on Infinite Earths, right? So that's him.
And there was a time in the 90s where if you were a new number one, especially an indie book, and you didn't have a George Perez cover, you might as well just close up shop. Like, you had no chance.
You got no chance. So very sad to hear that, but fortunately for us, we have a lot of his work to, it's almost like when he's definitely too young for 67, but we're very fortunate as comic book fans that we have these pieces of media that and art that's come from them, and it's not just like one singular thing, it's things from over the years, so you can like almost pull these out of a timeline out of their careers or lives that we can still look at and be like, wow, they're in their prime. So we're very fortunate we still have all that to look at, but really sad to hear that, and heart and condolences goes out to his family. So hopefully they're doing well.
Yeah, and if you want to go, obviously Hero Initiative has been a big conversation for like 2-3 months now.
Yep.
They're also doing a exclusive variant cover for, I think it's Dark Crisis 7.
Okay.
That's a Jim Lee cover based on that Crisis on Infinite Earths cover.
Oh yeah. I'll be buying that.
For the Hero Initiative. So
yep.
If you want to do one last good thing for George, there it is.
Yeah. And with that, let's talk about what we read this week.
So before we get into that, did you get anything cool for Free Comic Book Day? Like, did you buy anything or?
So I bought, there's this shop where I'm not too crazy about the shops around here. One of the shops was doing this thing where I almost went because they opened earlier, but they're selling, like if you spent $50, you got 25 books because they only give you like 5 of them. I'm not a huge I'm not a huge fan of the people that sell the free comic book day books. I think that kind of sucks because as a fan, I personally go in and I'll spend at least $50 on free comic book day just because I know the comic shops buy those comics. So I got the cool foil covers of the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo horror book. We fight. Is it We Fight Demons?
It's either We Are Demons.
We Are Demons. Yeah, but the foil covers, I got a couple of those. I picked up the trade for We Only Kill Each Other. Steph Phillips, Peter Krause. That got the stuff from the Comixology originals that I don't support anymore. That I bought the trades now and like the physical copies because I would rather do that. And then I bought some. Oh, I got like the Batman Beyond Neo Year, a couple of those issues. So yeah, some of that stuff, and then the free comics we'll talk about. But what'd you pick up?
I just picked up one thing just because I didn't want to go in the store and not buy anything.
Right? Yeah, I always want to buy something.
So I got to read it now, but I got Sandman book 1. It's a hefty little book here.
Yeah.
It has. Awesome. It collects the Preludes and Nocturne. The Dollhouse, Dream Country, and then Sandman 1 through 20.
Wow. Okay.
So there's a lot of reading in here for me.
Yeah. It's some heavy stuff too.
This apparently was the reprint they did for Black Label because it's got the DC logo at the bottom.
Oh, okay, cool.
And even says Black Label right there. But this is the entire series is 3 of these.
Oh, that's
that gives
awesome.
you an idea how big this actually is.
Yeah, that's convenient though because I was buying the individual trades and only collect like 5 to 10 issues. So
yeah, that was only $30. So
cool. And I'm always happy to see comic shops doing the free comic book day. The ones that I picked up, Barbaric, even though we talked about Barbaric, I wanted to get the free comic book day edition because I'm a collector like that.
My shop didn't have it. I was mad.
Oh, damn. I was lucky. I went right when they opened. There wasn't a line at this place. It's in a pretty sketchy part of town, so that might have been why. I picked up Bloodborne #1, which was it was a preview. It wasn't the full story by Cullen Bunn. I will be reading that. I need to catch up on all the other Bloodborne stuff. Cullen Bunn doing Bloodborne, he was made to do it. Bloodborne is all like body dysmorphia shit, right? So it's right up his alley. Did you grab that one?
No. So I'll tell you what my shop did because he didn't want to do something.
Okay.
To anybody out there, just the quick version is the shop I go to the owner has a daughter with severe disabilities. So he wanted nothing to do with having like a big thing. He's still kind of wary about COVID.
Because of COVID, yep.
Understandably so, in my opinion.
Yep.
So what he did was he ordered the stuff that he thought his people were going to want and just put it in our
cool.
pull box. So
That's cool.
I got everything he ordered, but like he didn't get the Mythos book and he didn't get Barbaric, which is unfortunate.
Okay. But you read Barbaric.
I mean, I already had Barbaric #1, but like you said, like it'd be nice to have that one.
I wanted the free comic book day edition.
I've done that plenty of times in my day too.
Yep.
But like I have the Stranger Things book that I'm never going to read. And a bunch of other like random crap, but because all I really cared about were those two and the DC Marvel stuff.
Yeah, I like kept going back and forth. So I picked up. I was excited to see Dark Caravan, one of those books there. The imprint from is it Vault Comics, right?
No, it's
Scout. Sorry, Scout Comics.
Yeah.
I didn't read that yet, though. I picked up Dark Crisis Zero. Man, what a waste of time that book was. Literally reveals nothing.
So the first half was... I ordered a copy of Justice League 75, so I'm waiting out to come in. But I'm assuming that first half was the ending to Justice League 75?
Yeah, it was. The first half was the ending to Justice League 75. And then they get into, like, the Flash, like... who's going to be the new Justice League? And then it's like, stay tuned, Dark Crisis 1. I was so worried I was going to miss something in Dark Crisis 1 from this book. The readers out there, you won't miss anything.
It's unfortunate because in the past, I still have a Marvel one to read, but in the past, these have been like
full books,
mini stories not even full books per se, but just like mini stories that led into whatever the thing was.
Mm-hmm.
And this felt like, let's chop the first half of issue 1 of Dark Crisis and the second half of Justice League 75, and here could be a very free book.
Yep.
And like, you put zero thought to this.
But like the indie stuff was good. The Nottingham was a full comic book tie-in from the Nottingham universe. That was a great story.
Oh.
The Nottingham free comic. That was a
that
whole
one too,
yeah, that was a whole one shot within the universe. David Hazen, great shit. And I think that's all I picked up from Free Comic Book Day. But yeah, some cool stuff.
To be fair as well, I did also get and read Spider-Man Venom Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
And exact same thing. It's part of a Spider-Man issue. It's part of a Venom issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the first 3 pages of that all-out Avengers.
I feel like I missed out on not getting DC Super Pets because that's the one I didn't get over Dark Crisis. But
I got it, but it just kind of looked like it's going to be some original graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I'm probably not going to read that because it's OGM based on the fucking movie.
Let's talk about what we did read this week. So I'm going to talk about Deathstroke. This is Deathstroke 8 and Batman 123. We're still doing the Shadow War stuff. Basically, it wraps up with like Deathstroke is fighting a bunch of assassins still. Batman's trying to find out who Batman and Robin run into this like Deathstroke poser that killed Ra's al Ghul. When Deathstroke's fighting, his son gets killed. Respawn. So he's pretty pissed by the end of it. And then we get this backstory from Deathstroke, like a old story from Josh Williamson where he shows that Deathstroke had a hit, like he went to Gotham to kill Joker, and he gets poisoned by like the Joker gas, like laughing gas, and he never kills him. So he has an unfinished contract. Like his one unfinished contract was the Joker in Gotham, and so I'm sure that's going to come up in another issue somewhere. I did not get to Suicide Squad 15 or Task Force Z number 7 this week. I didn't read those yet. The finale of One Star Squadron number 6, pretty depressing, but it had a nice ending at the end. So we think Minuteman is dead in the fire because we know he sets fire to the Heroes for You place. And then we find out, like, you know, Red Tornado is actually really sad and depressed about it. He wants to know if he's alive. He gets a letter at the end, which is like really heartfelt, that that he knows there's still heroes left in the world, and like really, really great ending. I think the whole story completed is awesome. It's making you feel things that you probably usually don't feel in a superhero book. But overall, great story.
Based on that letter at the end that Minuteman gives, either Mark at some point in his life was suicidal, or he knows somebody in his life that was suicidal. Because fuck did that ring true.
Yeah,
every single word of that rang true.
Yeah, that was some pretty heavy stuff to read.
Yeah.
Berserker number 8, Keanu Reeves, Matt Kint book. This one gets kind of crazy. So like they're trying to get him to remember like where he came from, and so they lock him in this box underground because they know he's indestructible, and they start like shocking him, and he like lets loose this power and creates this crater like in the mountain. And what it is like he lets out this lightning bolt, and what we see is this lightning bolt travel across universes and time, and then it gets to the point where 80,000 years ago, where the lightning bolt hits his mother, and like she becomes pregnant with him. So it's almost like they created this paradox of like they created him themselves. While they're doing the experimenting, one of the doctors gets hit with the lightning, and so they have him like trapped. Or they have the doctor trapped, and they're like researching her and seeing what happens. So they're trying to communicate with her, but she's not trapped. She's like recovering after she got hit with the powers. So they don't really know what's going on. Still pretty good. Swamp Thing, man, this issue really makes this series is probably almost, I would say, just as good as Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. The reason that I can't remember the guy's name that he's like tied to a city shows up is because we get a new parliament, the Parliament of Gears, and it's like the people of like Detroit that have like died, like the homeless people, the working class that have died and like given their lives to the overall industrial overlord kind of thing, you know, like to give way to industry. So there's like a Parliament of Gears of like people and things that have like, you know, society's moved on, but they're still there. Like they're the reason, they're the foundation for everything else. That was pretty awesome. Ram V is doing some crazy shit. He also introduces a new villain or parliament called Trinity. I don't know what type of material she is. So like she's like what's remains of like human ambition and like takes whatever form she wants. So she's the Trinity. Don't know what that means. I don't know if it's something from religion, like the will of people. But this story is going crazy. And then we have Swamp Thing trapped, you know, in his own mind, and they get him out. So that's Levi, the Swamp Thing avatar is trapped. It's a great story. Some crazy shit going on. Flashpoint Beyond #1. So basically, Flashpoint Batman, you know, he kills Barry Allen. So he's like, okay, Aquaman is really threatening all of the world. He recruits Wonder Woman to kill him, and she does. And then he's pretty much like, you know, nothing in this world matters. He has Penguin at Wayne Manor, pretty much babysitting Two-Face's Harvey Dent's kid because he's dead. And in the Prime Earth, or like the regular universe, the Flash visits Bruce and is like, hey, he felt something in time, and then he goes to the Batcave and Barry runs away. He thinks it's Reverse Flash, but it's Batman because there's a kid that's in the Batcave with him, and I'm pretty sure the kid's a Time Master.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. The Bruce Wayne on regular Earth is messing with time, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going on. That's probably what disrupted the Flashpoint universe, I would think.
Favorite panel in the whole issue? Damn it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so they infiltrate the Aquaman complex, and Flashpoint Batman pops up and shoots two of them in the head. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman kills Aquaman, and that was all used as a diversion because somebody attacked Wayne Casino.
Yeah.
And blew it up. So there's something else going on as well.
Mm-hmm. There's another villain in the Flashpoint universe.
Yeah, I got no clue what was happening in the present. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
I read through that.
I had to look that up because I think that's a Time Master. I don't know. It's weird. And then I had a couple more. Radiant Black is good. The friends are butting heads because, you know, the new Radiant Black killed a guy, and there's repercussions for that. He basically sets fire to a place to these villains and like leaves them there trapped, and they find a leftover camera, so it's going to be bad for him. One of the firefighters on the scene finds a leftover camera from the fight. So, and then Batman Neo Gear #2. This book's awesome. Batman realizes he has to get rid of all his electronic gear because that's how the living Gotham tracks him. He goes and finds a villain to try to help him. The villain doesn't want to, though. Like, the villains basically realize that like the existence is nothing, and they're like part cyborg, part people, I guess. But he tries to like bribe them with these gems that they were stealing. And then when they say that life pretty much doesn't matter, he's like, okay, then there's no way I can recruit you. He throws these diamonds or gems off the side of the building, and some other guy picks them up, another villain. I think it's the sword. I think it's the sword that's been chasing him around the city.
It's the guy from the first issue, yeah.
Yeah. So the sword has been chasing him, is on his trail, even though he doesn't have So he really has hardly any support. So he's almost out of gadgets and everything. I'm curious to see how this plays out, but it's good.
The 2-page spread when they go to Joker Town.
Yeah, that was sick.
I just want that as a poster.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I bought the actual physical issue of this and I read it digitally, but like, yeah, it's definitely way better as a physical issue. That Welcome to Joker Town thing was great. It's not this is more of like an adventure issue of taking you through the to see some cool shit in the city and meet some interesting characters.
Yeah.
But that's what I had this week.
Let's see. My phone wants to. So Task Force Z number 7. They go back and find all the Suicide Squad members and kill them so they can turn them into zombies.
Okay.
So that they can go and fight the Suicide Squad.
Oh.
It was like a collect your group kind of issue. But at the end, Mr. Freeze finds out that they've been hoarding a bunch of the resin. And so he steals it all and brings himself back to life and takes off. And so they're left with none. And Two-Face says, well, we need to find some somewhere or else we're screwed. And that's when Red Hood says, well, there's only one person that has any, and it's Batman. So
of course,
next issue should be fun. I tried Metal Society number 1. It just wasn't for me. What was that movie with Real Steel? Remember Real Steel?
Real Steel, yeah.
That's what this is. Like,
yeah.
Earth is taken over by androids. Humans have been on Earth forever. They come back. They come back as a second-class citizen, and they have to fight in these boxing tournaments to make their way. I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
Okay.
Normally, I think it's a Zach Kaplan book, and that's why I picked it up, because I like him. This one, not so much.
Okay.
Little Monsters number 3. We kind of converge the two stories from the end of issue 1 and 2 into this, where we see the little girl that we met in issue 1, and then the old man that's met in issue 2 that the kids like start to eat. We find out that man is the little kid's father, and so there's a whole like back and forth there. The big reveal here is that the whole reason that the vampires are around and there's no humans is because there's a second pandemic in 2029.
Oh, of course.
That kills everybody. Little on the nose, Jeff.
Yeah. A little bit. Just a little bit.
But a good issue. Let's see. Star Wars Obi-Wan number 1.
I did see that came out.
So this starts off with Obi-Wan like right before A New Hope. And he's writing in his journal, kind of telling a story about this like sandstorm that's on its way to him. And then he starts reading back on the journal. And that's going to be the way for them to like set up these stories, because then it flashes back to when he was like a little kid in the Jedi Temple. And tells like a story of him and his friend in the Jedi Temple. And then we go back to the present at the end of that. So I feel like every issue of this is going to be a lesson that Obi-Wan learned along his life, told as a flashback. Okay, cool. But pretty good. Pretty good. Awesome. One that you should check out, Quest Aside number 1.
Okay.
It's about this bar in like this D&D-esque world.
Okay.
And the guy who owns the bar is like he quested his whole life. He defeated everybody, so he just wanted to open up a bar and just retire. And there's all these things happening in the bar. And then at the end of the story, the king comes, and you find out that the king was his like adventuring pal.
Okay.
And he gives him warning that he's going to take over the bar and use it as a barracks and shut it all down. But throughout the story, there's like little moments that from like playing D&D and shit, like moments you'll understand, jokes you'll get. Like there's a stand-up comedian orc in it. The guy who runs the kitchen is a moving skeleton. Okay. Like just a lot of fun. And it's a vault book. So
okay, cool. I'll have to check it out.
Certain amount of quality that comes with that name right there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I read. So Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter, and you can find the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter, also at FortressComicNews.com. Remember, everybody, to like, subscribe, share, comment down below on YouTube. Give us the 5 stars on your podcatcher. And if you want to go the extra mile, patreon.com/fortresscomics. Thank you all so much for listening/watching this week. We'll see you all here next week.